This week I'm driving the 2021 GMC YUKON Denali. If you're following all my videos, I already drove the YUKON Denali a couple months ago, but that specific YUKON was a pre-production model and I only drove it for one day. This one is a production one. Now I've got this one for 7 days. I can test the fuel economy, test all the gadgets inside. So it's always a better test when we have the actual SUV for 7 days. So this YUKON have been redesigned completely for 2021. New frame, a new look, new inside. Everything is pretty new on this one. And I'm pretty lucky this past 3 weeks. I'm driving the Escalade, the YUKON, and the Tahoe. So I'm really able to compare these three. They're really similar, but at the same time they're kind of different. So style wise, this one's a Denali, so it's the top dog in the YUKON lineup. And for 2021, the Denali is still a bit different than the others in the lineup. Back in the days, in 2020 or before, when you had a Denali, it was just a top of the line model. Nothing really specific or really different from the other ones. Usually it was only the grille and some, options and all that. But for 2021, you've got some major difference between an SLT model and a Denali. So GMC is really stepping up their game for the Denali brand, I could say. So if we're looking at the design, we've got a special Denali grille in the front. We've got some HID lights also here. That's one of the major difference between, the Tahoe and the YUKON. We've got some really nice looking 22 inches wheel. Machine in black, really good looking wheel. This one is an option for more than $4,000. On the side we've got those steps who's going to come out and in, really practical, especially when you're a bit older and all that. It's always a plus having those retractable steps. And if we step in the back of this Denali, you can notice there's a quad tip. The quad tip, it's unique to the Denali. If you're looking at the YUKON, SLT, even the 84, there's no exit for the exhaust, and that's a plus for the Denali. Speaking of different models for the Denali, you've got the SLE, the SLT, the new off-road version, the 84, and of course the top dog, the Denali. Under the hood for the YUKON Denali, it comes standard with the V8 6.2 liter, good for 420 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque. This engine is matched to a 10-speed transmission. I really like this engine. I think it's a good match for the size of this SUV. Also, there's an optional diesel engine, the new Duramax 3-liter inline 6 turbo. This engine is good for 277 horsepower and 460 foot-pounds of torque. This engine is a good engine if you're looking for fuel economy. If you're looking at the SLE, SLT, or 84 model, these come with the V8 5.3 liter matched to the 10-speed transmission. So we've got plenty of choice for the engine. So if you're looking for the Denali, you've got the 6.2 or the diesel. And if you're looking at the other models, you got the 5.3 or the diesel. But unfortunately for the 84 models, it comes only with the 5.3 gas engine. It's unfortunate, myself, I'm really looking for the 84 models to have like a 6.2 or the diesel. With the 5.3, the 84 is a bit less interesting. All right, on the road with the YUKON Denali. I'm pretty glad I drove for a week last week the Escalade. I'm really able to compare the suspension and the way those large SUVs are driving. Before when I drove both of them, I was not really able to really tell a difference between those two. You really have to drive them back to back. In my mind, I always thought, Suspension wise, it'll be the same kind of setup. You know, these new large SUVs are using the magnetic ride mixed with the air adaptive suspension, so really good ride, one of the best on the market by far. But you know, the Escalade is smoother. You know, you're more like on the cloud, more like on a big boat. It's super comfortable. The Denali is a little bit more sportier, I could say. It's a little bit harder on the road, but I really like it. You know, it feels more you know, smaller also. It's the same kind of truck. It's the same, you know, they're based both on the same platform and all that. But you know, the way you know, the Yukon is designed, the hood is really plunging in the front. It's not big and bold like the Escalade. It feels easier to drive and sportier and smaller on that side, just because of the front vision, I could say. But you know, driving the Yukon is just fantastic, especially with this new suspension. You can raise it up and lower it down. You know, when you're about to exit or enter your Yukon, it's gonna lower down to the ground. On the road, it's gonna raise up. On the highway, it's gonna lower down to be more aerodynamic. And you can raise it up about 3 inches when you lock it in 4x4 low. That's pretty awesome and practical also if you wanna, you know, do some mild off-roading, or you wanna, you know, go over like a step of snow or something. It's always cool to be able to raise up your truck and you know, being able to use your SUV in rougher path. So I really like that. On the other side, the magnetic suspension, it's gonna offer you more stiffness if you want to put it in sport. That's also cool. You know, you're really able to push those big SUVs now because of the rear independent suspension. You're able to push it. I think by far, you know, I drove the Toyota Sequoia, the Armada, I drove the Expedition and all that. The GM products is the best handling for large SUVs by far. And on top of that, that new rear independent suspension is going to offer you more space in the last row and also in the trunk. In 2021, these new short version, I could say, they're not the short version anymore. They're larger, and you're able to step up also to the XL model. With the XL model, you gain about a foot of trunk, I could say. The XL is like the Suburban, I could say, if you're looking at the Chevy side. But you know, you got plenty of space in the trunk, plenty of space in that last row. Actually, the Yukon and also Tahoe and Escalade, it's the only SUV I'm able to fit behind myself. You know, this is really spacious. It's one of the only SUV also I'm able to fit in the last row, and I'm comfortable in that last row, so that's a big plus. On the space side, you know, and comfort inside, the Yukon is a big champion. This week I've got the bench in the second row. You can also have the captain seat, I could say. I prefer the captain seat, but if you need 8, you know, seat inside of your Yukon, you can get that bench, so that's still pretty interesting. Looking at the inside of the Denali, it's pretty unique for the Denali. You've got that spatial screen. You're not able to get that screen in any other Yukon like the SLE, SLT, and AT4. So this is really a signature interior for the Denali. I think it's a big plus. You know, it raised up the Denali name. I like the black wood, and that metal console is really practical, more practical than the Escalade actually. This week I don't have the power console. These are not available yet. If you watch my previous test drive of the Yukon, I had a pre-production model. That's why I had the power console. It should be available in late, you know, 2021, but not right now. But otherwise, you know, screen-wise, it works pretty well. You've got a bunch of buttons also. I like that, you know, it's not everything on the screen. You got all your climate here. You know, it's still a GMC. You're still being able to work with it. And, you know, you feel really inside something special. It's a Denali, and that's why you find the Denali logo instead of the GMC on your steering wheel. On top of that, you know, with the Denali, you've got a bigger sound system, about 12 speakers from Bose. You've got a spatial leather also. It's smoother. You've got some nice stitches and X's, I could say. These are more comfortable than the other Yukon also. Again, it's a step up for the Denali, and it makes a difference for the Denali. I love that. You've got that spatial dash in also. This one is fully loaded, obviously. This week I've got the retractable side step, the panoramic roof and all that, the big wheels. So it's good for a good... So this truck is good for around 95,000 Canadian. Base Denali is going to run you around 80. You know, it's pretty decent, you know, considering the price of other, you know, SUVs on the market. I think the Denali is just right there in that sweet spot for price. When you step up to the Escalade, you have to pay about 20 to 30 grand more. It's a big difference. So, you know, that Yukon Denali, it's just that sweet spot between the Tahoe and the Escalade, and I think GMC's got that good spot, you know, on the market. Performance wise, once again, that suspension is fantastic. You can really push it down the curve even if it's a large SUV. I love this 6.2 with the 10-speed. It's one of my favorite powertrain from GM. I just like the way it drives. I like the power of it. You know, I think it's a good match for this SUV. On the other side, the 5.3, you know, I'm not sure if you're able to do the same kind of like fuel economy. For me, it's no question the 6.2. It's my favorite engine of choice. If you're looking for fuel economy, obviously the Duramax is the top choice for you. But, you know, on the fuel economy side, this week I was averaging around 13 liters per 100 kilometers. I think it's pretty decent for a big V8 and a big SUV like this. You know, sometimes I was doing some similar numbers in smaller SUVs, so it's pretty decent. And if you're considering, again, the diesel, I'm guessing you're able to do around 8 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers. You know, when I drove the Sierra and the Silverado, I was, you know, averaging 8 to 9 liters per 100 kilometers. Now I'm doing 13 liters. I was doing about the same with my Sierra with the 6.2. So I'm guessing the Yukon's gonna do similar numbers too. You know, this week I'm really testing this Yukon Denali because if you're following me on my social media, I sold my GMC Sierra 84 and I'm considering to buy a new SUV, a 3-row SUV. So that's why I'm testing all those big 3-rows SUV lately. We just announced lately, me and my wife Jul Torq, we're expecting a baby around September, so we need more space. She already got 2 daughters, so we're gonna be 5. We need that space. We need a large SUV. So right now I'm really on the market to buy a new SUV, and the Yukon Denali, it's a serious contender for my next purchase, I could say. Just the way it drives, the performance, the handling, the space inside, the luxury and everything. The luxury is not over the top and over the top price for just like the Escalade. It's just that sweet spot, you know, of work and luxury. I really love that, you know. And just driving these large SUVs on the road is just fantastic if you want to travel, go on a road trip or something like that, or just drive on a daily basis. So Yukon Denali is a serious contender for my next purchase for sure. So overall, I think the Yukon Denali has got that sweet spot, price-wise, luxury-wise, practical and all that, truck-wise, you know. Yes, the Denali's got that perfect packaging for my point of view. I'm considering also the 84, but right now the 84, for my point of view, it's got a big weakness. You're not able to get the diesel or the 6.2. So for me, the 84, it's lacking on that side. I know there's some reason behind the COVID and the front bumper. You know, they have to do some modification to those engines. They didn't have time with the COVID and all that. For me, it's no question you have to go with the 6.2 or the diesel. I love those 2 engines. The 5.3 is just like the standard engine. and I'm not sure, I don't think you're able to do better fuel economy with it, and you have to make a big, you know, sacrifice on the performance. So the Denali's got that sweet spot for the price, and also, you know, it's 30 to 20,000 less than the Escalade. So from my point of view, if you're looking for something in the 80,000 to 90,000 range in the large SUV, the Denali Yukon is the top purchase. So don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my video. I'm gonna put also some links to my Facebook and Instagram. I post daily stuff on my stories, behind the scene and everything. Go check it out, and we're gonna see each other on the next review.